Hamidreza Gholamzadeh is the CEO of Sprit Foundation. He joins me now from Tehran. Thank you for joining us on the program. From your perspective there in Iran, how are relations between Iran and the UK now? Because on one hand, the UK is battling diplomatically to keep the nuclear deal alive, but now we have these tensions over that seized Iranian tanker and the altercation this week in the Strait of Hormuz between Iran and a British tanker.
Actually, the United Kingdom has begun a very dangerous game with Iran. They are trying to side by the Americans in putting pressure on Iran so that they can possibly, let's say, discourage Iran from continuing with less for less commitments within the JCPOA. So we have had on one hand, we had the Nazanin Zaghari's husband campaigning outside the Iranian embassy, blocking the entrance to the embassy actually in London, being supported in some way by the British government. On the other side, we had just this oil tanker being seized by the British forces. And on the other, as the last step, we had the British oil tanker getting inside the Persian Gulf, being escorted by a navy, which actually militarized the situation. That is a very dangerous step by the United Kingdom. They are making everything more and more dangerous, and in a very tense situation that we already have in the region and between Iran and the United States. And now, actually, the British people are adding fuel to the already, let's say, heightened flame that we have.
Mm-hmm. So what does Iran want or need in order to de-escalate tensions? Is it looking for dialogue? Is it looking for renegotiation of the JCPOA, easing up of sanctions? I mean, what does Iran want?
Regarding the United States, Iran, what Iran wants is actually the JCPOA. Iran has been to the JCPOA, Iran has been in the negotiations, and the one who has left the table is the United States. So if anyone wants JCPOA alive and wants Iran committed to that, needs to have the United States back to the table and actually remove the sanctions that it has imposed on Iran. That was, to some extent, the proposal that the French government is giving to Iran let's call it freeze for freeze. Iran freezes everything, every further steps to decrease the commitments, and on the other side, the Americans actually remove the sanctions that they have imposed, and the result will be actually the United States will be sitting at the table while Iran is negotiating with 4+1, because 5+1 is actually dead, and there is no 5+1 anymore. And so the situation on the ground is that if the JCPOA is supposed to be alive, what can be done is to actually have United States remove the sanctions, get back to the JCPOA, and then there would be negotiations.
Mm-hmm. How dangerous are these confrontations that have been going on? For example, the British tanker in the Strait of Hormuz and the Iranian tanker seized off Gibraltar. Does each of these confrontations collectively, do they increase the risk of larger, more violent encounters and as these tensions mount?
Yeah, of course it can be, because we are talking about security of Iran. In terms of, for example, the Global Hawk spy drone, which actually intruded the Iranian airspace, and now security of Persian Gulf, all of these things are threats to Iran's security. And security in the region is something that is a matter of life or death for Iran. So by no means Iran would actually step back from its security. So anything related to security is a very serious red line for Iran. So if Iran feels any threat on that, in that regard, there would be confrontation for sure. Because I said the example of a Global Hawk, the American drone, is a very clear example that shows that Iran is very serious in response to any threat and any attack to its integrity, its security, and these recent measures, especially by British forces and British government, is actually escalating the tensions, and it's getting to the threshold of any conflict. I would not be surprised if there would be any conflict in the Persian Gulf, and that would be for sure dangerous. And it's a threat not only to Iran and the people in the region, the other countries in the Persian Gulf. It is also a threat to the whole world.
All right, certainly. We will leave it there. Hamidreza Gholamzadeh, CEO of Peace Spirit Foundation, joining us from Tehran. Thank you.